but here no important. Cyclic group. What do you mean? What do you mean by cyclic group? A group, each and every element of a cyclic group generated by a single element. So already told that a cyclic group has at least two generators. So suddenly I get back my word. I suddenly say that cyclic group may have only one generator. That is wrong. I will give the explanation. I gave the wrong information. So the correct information is, now keep in your mind, a cyclic group has at least two generators. So what about the self-inverse case? Suppose you can consider U8. U8 is nothing but set of all integer which is relatively prime to 8. The numbers are 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 7. So under multiplication modulo 8. So what is the inverse of 3? 3 3s are 9. So 9 is congruent to 1 mod 8. So inverse of 3 is 3. So uh, 3 cannot generate all the elements. Suppose the self-inverse element exists, self-inverse element cannot generate the remaining element, because once you square it, you will get the identity element. So one the increase the power of element, you will get the remaining element. So then only I can call that is a generator. Then only I can say that that is a cyclic group. So here cyclic group is definitely at least two generator. That is A is generator means A inverse also generator. Is understood. So only in the definition they simply simply they mention A power n. So cyclic group means at least we have two generators. One is generator, another one is inverse of that element, that is also generator. So at least two generator, there is no possible of getting one generator. Okay. Self inverse case, it cannot generate the remaining element. Okay. So then we seen some examples, order of element. We seen some example. We have seen some example. Then a small theorem. After that, examples related to the previous. This is an important theorem. Every subgroup of a cyclic group is cyclic. I simply give you, given a cyclic group, choose element. Cyclic group means each and every element generated by a single element. So I can write each and every element of G is A power something. If I choose a subgroup of G, definitely each and every element of subgroup has a form A power something, because there is an element G. So, okay, then I want to show that the subgroup is a cyclic. That means I choose a element A power T, because each and every element of H is in the form of A power something. So first I choose the element A power T, where T is the least positive integer. Then I have to show that the A power T whole power something, say, so if you increase the power of A power T, I will get the remaining elements of H. If you show like that, we can say that H is a cyclic. So I assume that A power T belongs to H. Then I take some other element B is equal to A power S. Finally, I get the contradiction. So S has a form QT plus R. So finally, I got the contradiction. So this contradiction, why I get that contradiction? I assume that the remainder exists, they R exist. So that is not possible. So R becomes 0. Therefore, S equal to simply QT, that is nothing but is generated by B is generated by A per T whole per Q. So finally, I conclude that H is an cyclic subgroup. Okay. So at least frequently just listen these words, easily you can prove the proof of the theorem. You can give the proof of the theorem. Okay. Okay, next one. Theorem. This is another 4-mark theorem. Every cyclic group is abelian, but every abelian group is not abelian. Sorry, every abelian group is not a cyclic group. Every cyclic group is abelian, but every abelian group is not a cyclic group. Okay. Proof. Let G be a cyclic group and A be the generator of G. I assume that G is a cyclic group, A is a generator of G. So that G is, I can write generator of G is A, such that A power n, such that n belongs to Z. Each and every element of G is represented by A power n, where n is belongs to Z. What I have to show that is abelian. Abelian means I have to choose two elements, then just apply the binary operation, say A star B is equal to B star A, then we can show that it's an abelian. So I have to choose two elements from G. Say G1, G2 are the any two elements of G. Then G has a format of A power n. So there exists an integer R and S such that G1 is represented by A power R, G2 is represented by A power S. Then I have to show that G1 star G2 is equal to G2 star G1. So I assume that G1 star G2. G1 star G2 means A power and A power S. A normal multiplication, okay, don't worry. So here I can add the power. So A power R plus S, I can replace R plus S can be replaced as S plus R. And again I can split it into A power S into A power R. Finally I can have G2 into G1. Therefore, I prove that A star B is equal to B star A. Therefore, G is an abelian group. This is a 4-mark theorem. This is another most important theorem. A finite group whose order is prime power or prime, then definitely it's a cyclic group. You can choose any finite group whose order is prime, then it's a cyclic group. So just before I give the example of U8. U8 means relatively prime to 8. The members of 1, 3, 5, 7. It's a finite group, but the order of the group is 4. Order means number of elements in that set. So the order of element is 4. So 4 is not a prime number. So U8 is not a cyclic group. Suppose if we choose a finite group whose order is prime number, definitely that group is an cyclic group. Okay. We have to prove this. Since cardinality of G, that is the number of elements in G prime, we assume that finite group whose order is P. That means the cardinality of G is prime, which is greater than 1, because 1 is not a prime number. G has a non-identity element. That is, you cannot pick an identity element. If you pick an identity element, you cannot generate a group. Okay. So only I have to pick a non-identity element. Say A belongs to G, which is non-identity. Then order of A is something. Order of A is uh, you can get some order of A. Order of A is nothing but this is denoted by the order of A. This is generated by the number of elements A, which divides order of G. See, simply I can explain. One important theorem just now we studied, that is this is a corollary of Lagrange theorem. What is the theorem states that any subgroup divides its order of the subgroup divides order of the group. Similarly, order of the element also divides order of the group. So if we choose A belongs to G, then order of the element divides order of G. By the theorem, G is a finite group, A belongs to G, then order of A divides order of G. This is an important theorem. Since P is a prime, here I denoting this is some notation. I will explain later. Okay, order of A divides order of G by known theorem, where the order of the group is prime. So here the order of A divides order of G, where order of G is prime. So P is a prime means what is the divisor? 1 and itself. So order of A is 1 or P. Okay, there is two possible of order of A because order of the group is prime. So order of element, the possibles are 1 and P. Okay, since A is a non-identity element, only identity element has the power 1. E power 1 is E. Identity element only has the power E power 1, which represent E. If you choose any other element, that element power 1 cannot represent E. So A already choose that A is not equal to E. So order of A is equal to 1. That is not possible. The only possible order of A is 3. So hence order of A is P. So now I know that order of A is P. This means that order of A has the same number of elements G. See what we conclude that order of A is P. That means order of number of that is order of A, which is nothing but my order of G. That means this means that order of A has same number of elements of G. That means that if you put A power 1 element, A power 2 second element, A power 3 third element, A power 4 fourth element, A power P, I will get the identity element. So when you raise the power for A, definitely I will get the all elements of G. So this is my conclusion. Therefore, G is an generator of A. Therefore, G is a cyclic group. Okay. So order of A P means A power P is E. So the A power P only E. So when you raise other powers, definitely you will get the remaining elements. So finally I conclude that so G is generated by A, so G is an cyclic group. This is another important theorem. Okay. Hence G is a finite group whose order is a prime number P, then G is a cyclic group. Then this is another theorem. Just read it yourself because already you studied in your DM itself. Here, suppose in early case what I told, if you want to prove a subgroup, a subset is a subgroup, I have to check two conditions. One is closure and inverse. But in that case, H may your group may be finite or infinite. The order of the group may be finite or infinite. Okay. Suppose H is also a finite or infinite set. There is a restriction on H only. In early case, H is there is no restriction. H may be finite or infinite. But here, the subset become finite. For proving the subset becomes subgroup, closure is enough. No need to check the other condition. The theorem tells that you assume a group, collect the subset, the cardinality of subset is a finite, then suppose you want to show that that subset is subgroup, you need to check only one condition, that is a closure axiom in H. Okay. So already you study in this theorem in your DM also. Just refer it because it's not so much important. If you any doubt, ask me. Okay. Because we have to cover a lot of thing in unit 1. So only I skip these theorems. This already you study, even though I will explain. Suppose you choose two subgroups, say H and X, H and K of G, then prove that H intersection K is also a subgroup. If intersection of two subgroups is again a subgroup. Union of two subgroup may not be a subgroup. So intersection of two subgroup is again a subgroup. So H is a subgroup. Here they didn't mention the cardinality of H and K, so I have to use the first theorem. So since H is a subgroup, so two conditions exist, closure and inverse. Similarly, K also subgroup, so closure and inverse is exist by theorem. Then I have to prove that H intersection K is subgroup. Then if we choose two elements in H intersection K, closure axiom should be satisfied. If we choose any element in H intersection K, A inverse is exist. Okay, what do you know? First, I choose two elements in H intersection K. That means A and B belongs to H, A and B belongs to K. A comma B belongs to H intersection K means A comma B belongs to H, A comma B belongs to K. So A comma B belongs to H, we know that H is a subgroup, so AB belongs to H. A comma B belongs to K, K is a subgroup, so we know that closure axiom satisfied, so AB belongs to H. Sorry, AB belongs to K. Similarly, A belongs to H intersection K, that means A belongs to H, A belongs to K. A belongs to H, H is a subgroup, so A inverse also belongs to H. A belongs to K, K is a subgroup, so A inverse also belongs to K. A inverse belongs to H, A inverse belongs to K, so A inverse belongs to H intersection K. Here one term is missing. AB belongs to H, AB belongs to K, which implies AB belongs to H intersection K. Finally, we prove these two conditions. Therefore, H intersection K is a subgroup of G. Already you studied? Okay. Give an example of a group with subgroup H and K such that H union K is not a subgroup of G. Combination of previous one, this they may ask a 6-mark problem or 4-mark problem. Okay. So you have to prove that H intersection K is subgroup, but H union K, give an example for H union K is not a subgroup. So I can choose the group Z comma plus. Okay. The subgroups are any NZ is a subgroup. That is 2Z, 3Z, 4Z, 5Z, 6Z. So any NZ is a subgroup. Okay. Under addition. So 2Z means multiples of 2. 2 plus or 0 plus or minus 2 plus or minus 4 plus or minus 6. 3Z means multiples of 3. If you take a union, that is 0 plus or minus 2 plus or minus 3 plus or minus 4 plus or minus 6 plus or minus 9. But this is not a subgroup because if you choose two elements from 2Z union 3Z, say 2 comma 3, Then add it, you will get the answer 5. 5 does not belongs to 2Z union 3Z. Therefore, 2Z union 3Z not a subgroup, not a group under addition. Therefore, 2Z comma union 2Z union 3Z is not a subgroup. Okay. Similarly, another example. This is another important problem. This is another important problem. So here, this is nothing but, see, please listen. This is nothing but sixth root of unity. Already we seen that in plus 2 standard, cube root of unity, fourth root of unity. This is nothing but sixth root of unity. So they didn't mention, even though say they given that v equal to 1 plus I root 3 by 2. Let a6, I consider the set a6, that is 1 comma v square v cube v power 4 v power 5. I have to show that a6 comma dot is a group. For each element x in a power 6, list up the elements of the carrier x of the cyclic group. That is carrier x comma dot, and give the order of x. I have to show that is a cyclic, that's all. Then is a power 6 comma dot cyclic, then show the name each of the generator. B is nothing but, I have to find the order of each element. I have to show that is a cyclic group. C is nothing but, I have to list out the generator of G. That is generator of not G, a power 6. Sorry, A6. Then I have to verify whether A6 is an abelian or not. So once again I repeat, they give what is your V, then collect the set 1V, V square, V cube, V power 4, V power 5. I have to show that A6 comma dot group. I have to show that A6 comma dot is cyclic group. Then I list out the order of each and every element. Then I have to give the generator of A power 6, that is nothing but condition C. The D is I have to verify whether A6 is an abelian or not. First you have to verify what is your V is given. What is your V square? What is your V cube? What is your V power 4? What is your V power 5? What is your V power 6? You have to list out. Okay. You have to list out, because we don't know about V square, V cube, V power 4, V power 5, V power 6. Sorry, up to V power 5. So I know that V is I 1 plus I root 3 by 2. So this is, I can represent this is V square. So I have to find V cube. This is nothing but my V cube. V cube is minus 1. V power 4 is minus 1 minus I root 3 by 2. V power 5, 1 minus I root 3 by 2. V power 6 is 1. I have to list out my V is 1 plus I root 3 by 2. V square minus 1 plus I root 3 by 2. V cube minus 1. V power 4 is minus 1 minus I root 3 by 2. V power 5, 1 minus I root 3 by 2. V power 6, 1. You have to find all these things. Otherwise, they will reduce the mark. Then directly you can write the KLA table. It's the easiest one. Simply you can write 1V, V square, V cube, V power 4, V power 5. Here also the V power 5 is missing. When I scan it my notes, the V power 5 is missing. Okay, just write 1V, V square, V cube, V power 4, V power 5. Just normal multiplication. 1V, V square, V cube, V power 4, V power 5. If you get V power 6, you will get 1. V power 7, V. V power 8, V square, and so on. Here you understood, you have to understood the you have to understand V power 6 is 1. You have to understood V power 6 is 1. Upper V power 7 V. V power 8 V square. V power 9 V cube, and so on. So here you will get V power 6 become 1. Here you will get V power 7 V. Here you will get V power 8 V square. Here you will get V power 9 V3. Okay, then and so on. When you observe the element, the remaining as usual procedure. What is the procedure? From the above table, all the entries in the table belongs to A6. Therefore, closure axiom satisfy. Multiplication always associative. Associative axiom satisfy. The identity element 1 belongs to A6. Therefore, identity axiom satisfy. You have to list out the inverse. So, inverse of 1 is 1. Inverse of V is V power 5. Inverse of V2 V power 4. Inverse of V3 V3. Inverse of V4 V2. Inverse of V5, you will get V. Okay. Therefore, A6 comma dot is an group. Okay. Next, I have to write the because next I have to prove it's a cyclic group. For proving it is a cyclic group, I have to choose. I need a generator. Generator means if you raise the power, remaining element, you have to get it. So when you observe the thing, easily you can know that when you raise the power V power 1, V power 2, V power 3, V power 4, V power 5, V power 6 become 1, you will get all the elements. So easily you can, from the table, easily you can understand V is a generator. Already it told that the inverse of V also generator. The inverse of V is nothing but V power 5. Therefore, V and V power 5 are generator. Okay. So now I have to list out the order of the element. Order of the element means V, so 1 power 1 is 1, so order of 1 is 1. Order of V is 6 because V power 6 become 1, so order of V is 6. What about V power 2? V power 2 you will get 12. V power 2, V power 2 whole power 6, then only you will get 1. So V power 2 is 6, and so on. The remaining element you have to find the order of each element. Order of element means raise the power. Whenever we get the identity, that power is order. Okay. Here I forgot to list out, so you have to list out yourself. Okay, then I have to collect the cyclic subgroup. How do you collect cyclic subgroup? Okay, how do you collect cyclic? We know that one theorem. Already, just now we studied. That is subgroup of cyclic group is cyclic. Subgroup of cyclic group is cyclic. So we know that we have known that A6 comma dot is cyclic. So if you choose any subgroup, that is a cyclic subgroup. Okay, now tell me, please listen. Now I will give the hint. How do you collect the subgroup from your group? Okay, I will give the hint. Please listen. Then only easily you can collect many subgroup from the given group. Okay. First singleton one is an subgroup clearly. Okay. The next subgroup I have to, suppose you want to write the subgroup. First you have to insert the identity element. First you have to insert the identity element. Suppose you want to insert other element, then two things you have to verify. Inverse of that element also included. Okay, then product with the remaining element, that is also exists, such a way that you have to choose. Okay, I'll tell you. Suppose I see this, I will point it. See this. So first I insert my identity element. Next, you can insert any element. Say V square, V cube, V power 4, V power 5. So first I insert V. So this is 2. Obviously, no problem. I can insert identity. After that, I can include any element. That is not a problem. Then the next element should be inverse of this. Next element should be inverse of V. So we know that inverse of V is V power 5. Then you have to verify that 1 into V is exists, 1 into V power 5 is exist or not. You have to verify like that. Okay. So definitely 1 into anything that term. So closed action satisfies. So up to this is a subgroup. So identity element, a element inverse of that element, definitely it forms a subgroup. Okay. It forms cyclic subgroup also. It forms a subgroup. Whether it is the original group is cyclic, automatically there is a cyclic subgroup. Okay. Then choose. One is identity element. If you choose V square, the inverse of V square is V power 4. This is another subgroup. If you choose V cube, the inverse of V cube is itself. So 1 comma V cube is another subgroup. If you choose V power 4, again this will be repeated. If you choose V power 5, this will be repeated. These are all cyclic subgroups. Suppose you want to insert here, suppose you want to insert V square, means I have to insert V power 4. I have to insert V power 4, but this is not a subgroup because V square into V, it's become V cube. V cube does not belongs to this set. Definitely it does not. Suppose I will write 1 V power 5. Okay, then I can insert V square. Then I can insert V power 4. Suppose is it a subgroup? No. So you told identity element, inverse element. Once I insert one more condition, you have to multiply with the previous element. Here up to this there is no problem. Here I insert V square, V power 4. That means you have to verify one thing. You have to multiply V square with the other remaining 2 elements. That element is exist in this set, then it's a subgroup. So V square into V cube does not belong to this. So this is not a subgroup. Suppose V square into V become V cube. So we can add V cube simultaneously. We can add inverse of V cube. Okay. Then V power 4 into V power 5, V power 9. V power 9 is nothing but V power 3. Already V power 3 is exists. Therefore, if we insert V square into V cube, definitely it's from a subgroup because this is nothing but my original group. Okay. So identity, an element, inverse of that element, definitely it's from a subgroup. If we insert any other element, right, inverse of that element, then you have to multiply that element with the previous element. Okay. That the product also exists, or product also we can insert the product of a such element is something. Suppose V into V square V cube, we have to insert V cube, then it may be this is a subgroup. So these are all cyclic subgroup. Here I listed the order. See, refer the order. Okay, V square becomes 6, V square whole power 6. V square whole because V power 6 become 1. How do how do you get V power 6? Just raise the power 3, you will get V power 6. So raise the power 2, you will get V power 6. Raise the power 3, you will get V power 12, it's become 1. Raise the power raise the power 6, then only you can get V power 30, it's become 1. So these are all order of an element. Did you understand? Maybe I read it quickly. The fast பேசிட்டேன் புரிஞ்சுதா? Anyone reply me? What's the order of element? Means simply raise the power. Whenever you get the identity element, that power is called order. That's all. Okay. Next problem. Find all the cyclic subgroup of S5. Please note it down. S5 is a non-abelian. Already told that Sn, where n is greater than or equal to 3, Sn is a symmetric group. Where n is greater than or equal to n, this is not a abelian group. Okay. So I have to collect S5, find all the cyclic subgroup of S5. I don't know about whether S5 is cyclic or not a cyclic. I don't know about, but I have to find the cyclic subgroup. Okay. So every group there is exist a cyclic subgroup. Every group there exists a cyclic subgroup. Okay, S5 means the set of elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 elements 5 factorial. 5 factorial means 24 into 5. 120 permutations are exist. 120 permutations of exist. How do you find all the cyclic subgroup of S5? This is not an important problem because you have to remember the element, then only you can able to write the subgroup. Otherwise, it's not possible. Okay, please listen. Here I try to explain this problem. Suppose n equal to 2. That means I can fix two elements, say 4 and 5. 4 map onto 4, 5 map onto 5. The remaining elements cyclically I can map. 1 map onto 2. See, n equal to 2 means 3 elements are fixed. First 2 elements are mapped. That is 1 map onto 2, 2 map onto 1. This is called n equal to 2. Such permutation definitely exists. So now I have to find the cyclic subgroup. That means just raise the power. Wherever you get the identity, up to this you have to do it. Wherever you get the identity, stop the procedure. Collect the permutations. That collection is nothing but cyclic subgroup. Okay. So first n equal to 2, I can fix first 2 element remaining. So I can map the first 2 element. I can fix the remaining 3 element. That is called n equal to 2. So if you raise the power a square, that is a into a, definitely I will get the identity element. So the order of a is 2. So this is nothing but cyclic subgroup. If n is 3, I have to map first 3 element. 1 map onto 2, 2 map onto 3, 3 map onto 1. So fix remaining 2. It has order 3. So just find a, just write a, then square it and cube it. When you cube it, you will get e. So stop it. This is another cyclic subgroup. N equal to 4. That means I have to map 4 element. I can fix only 1 element. 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 1. Then just find the raise the power a square, a cube, a power 4. When a power 4 become e, so this is another cyclic subgroup. N equal to 5. That means I can give the map for all number 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 1. Definitely so has order 5. These are all cyclic subgroup. The remaining permutations not exist. Okay, sir. S5 கொடுத்துட்டீங்க. What about remaining? So whatever the given power, suppose S7, assume that S7. That means take n equal to 2. Just map 1 map onto 2. Cyclically you have to map. N equal to 2 means I choose 2 element. 1 map onto 2, 2 map onto 1. Cyclically I can map. If n equal to 3 means 1, 2, 3. 1 map onto 2, 2 map onto 3, 3 map onto 1. If you choose n equal to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Remaining fixed. 1 map onto 2, 2 map onto 3, 3 map onto 4, 4 map onto again 1. If n is 5, 1 map onto 2, 2 map onto 3, 3 map onto 4, 4 map onto 5, 5 map onto 1. This is n equal to 5. So n S7 means up to you can go for n equal to 7. So if you give any symmetric group, easily you can find the cyclic subgroup. So first n equal to 2, I can mapping cyclically for first 2 elements. Then cyclically for first 3 elements. Cyclically I can give the map for first 4 elements. Cyclically I can give the map for first 5 elements. Easily you can write the all cyclic subgroups. Remaining permutation does not exist. Okay. So next is left quotient and right quotient. Already you studied in your DM. So just we go through it. What do you mean by left? But in research, my research point of view, the quotient behave vital role. Left quotient and right quotient. Okay. So let H be a subgroup of G. Then each element A in G, there is a set AH such that A into H A into H where H belongs to capital H is called the left quotient of H. Simply I can explain. G is a group, H is a subgroup. Okay. How do you write the right quotient? Right quotient means choose element in G, then multiply with subgroup. That is nothing but my left quotient. If you keep it your A in the left hand side, that is left quotient. If you keep it your A in the right hand side of your subgroup, it's a right quotient. So how do you construct left quotient? A into H means fix A, then you can substitute one by one the element with H, just multiply or apply the binary, the resultant list out, the resultant is a collection of left quotient. Left quotient is small a into H, that is equal to small a is fixed, H is varying, that is H is nothing but all H in capital H. So such collection is nothing but left quotient. If you write the binary, if you fix the A in the right hand side of your subgroup, that is nothing but your right quotient. So I can varying the elements of H in small h, that is A is fixed. I can varying the elements of H here. So this is nothing but right quotient. I am told that this is a vital role play in group theory. Uh, this is nothing but this is partition. The quotient gives these design sets of your group. Suppose I want to partition the group. Partition means I have to split my group with design sets. That is called partition. So simply I can say partition of 2 means 1 plus 1. Partition of 3 means 1 plus 1 plus 1, 1 plus 2, 2 plus 1. These are all called partition. Partition means I have to split my set. So G is a group. I have to split the set such a way that my sets are designed set. So such collection you need means you need quotient concept. Then only I can get the. Then only I can partition the. I can make a partition in group. Okay. For abelian group, left quotient equal to right quotient because HA is equal to AH. So for abelian group, left quotient equal to right quotient. So here is understood that in between A and H there is a corresponding binary operation. G is a group means there is operation G. Suppose addition A plus H. Suppose multiplication A dot H. Suppose some binary operation star A star H. Is understood that. Okay. If we choose group 1 minus 1 I minus I is a group under multiplication. Suppose I want to collect the left quotient. Left quotient means I have to each and every element of G I can find the left quotient. What are the elements of G? 1 minus 1 I minus I. So 1 into H one quotient, minus 1 into H another quotient, I into H third quotient, minus I into H fourth quotient. What is a H? What is a subgroup of G? 1 comma minus. And you have to find the subgroup. Then listed 1 into H. How do you write 1 into H? Fix 1, then multiply with the elements of H. So 1 into 1, 1 into minus 1. Minus 1 to H, fix minus 1, then multiply with the elements of H. So minus into 1, minus 1 to minus 1. I into H, fix I, then multiply with elements of H. So I into 1, I into minus 1. Minus I H, fix minus I, then multiply with elements of H. 1 minus I into 1, minus I into minus 1. You will get the collection of left cosets. So 1 into H, minus 1 H, I H, minus H. When you observe, similarly right cosets, okay? When you observe the left coset, can I give any conclusion? Anyone? When you observe the answer for left coset, when you observe this, I will mark it. When you observe this, can I give any conclusion about left coset or right cosets? When you observe this, these are all 4 left cosets of your group G. This is 4 left cosets of your G. When you observe this, can you give any conclusion about left cosets or right cosets? Wherever I say left coset, in that place you can replace by right cosets. Okay, all the results are satisfied. Can you give any conclusion? Sanjay, Balaraman, Shalini R.
Each contains an element and its inverse. So
Okay, but I no need that information. I need another information. Okay. See, any other observation? Shalniya, Swati D, Shrima, Ansul, Nandini, Harini, Abjit, Akash, Aswin, Bhavana, Dhanush R. டேய் செட்ஸை மட்டும் பாரு, உள்ள மெம்பரை பார்க்காது, செட்ஸை பாரு, பார்த்து சொல்லு பாப்போம். Observe the set with members. Compare these 4. Can you give any conclusion? Compare these 4. Can you give any conclusion? Ujwala, Vinusha, Vashini, Vishal Vashan, இது வரைக்கும் கூப்பிடாத வசந்தவானன், ஸ்வரன், no one. See, 1H, what about the difference between 1H and minus 1H? Please tell me. What's the difference between 1H and minus 1H?
same, sir.
Same. What about a high IH minus IH?
That is also same, sir.
That means if you choose any 2 left cosets or any 2 right coset, either identical or disjoint. This is information I can get from this example. We will prove by the as a theorem later. Okay. So if you choose any 2 left coset, either identical or disjoint. If you choose any 2, either identical or disjoint. One more information. If you take the union of disjoint cosets, it's become your original group. If you take union from these 2, 1 minus 1, I minus I, there is nothing but your group G. That is, you have to take union of all disjoint left cosets, which is nothing but my original group. These 3 observations are I get from this example. Once again, repeat. Choose any. If you choose any 2 cosets, definitely it is identical or totally disjoint. If you take union of all disjoint cosets, it's become my original group. Okay. So this is right coset. What's the observation? Any 2 right coset or left coset are distinct or identical. In this example, G is abelian. So abelian nala na. So right coset equal to left coset. Okay. Another example, the set of all rigid motions of triangle. I missed the word. Set of all rigid motions of a triangle form a group under composition. Already we see in this example. So what is a subgroup? There are 2 subgroup. One is set of all rotations form a group. another one subgroup, another one is phi naught and R1 is form a subgroup. In each and in any group, easily you can construct your subgroup. What is the main aim? First, I have to insert the identity element. If you insert one element, I have to insert the inverse of that element. Definitely, it's a subgroup. So we know that inverse of R1 is R, inverse of R2 is R, inverse of R3 is R3 is R3. Already in the problem also already explained. So pi naught R1 is a subgroup, pi naught R2 is a subgroup, pi naught R3 is a subgroup. But pi naught R1 R2 is not a subgroup. Okay. Similarly, pi naught pi 1 pi 2 is a subgroup. That's all. If you remove any one of them, definitely it's not a subgroup, because if you write pi 1 pi naught into pi 1, so I have to insert inverse of pi 1, that is nothing but pi 2. So this is your subgroup. Similarly, easily you can write the left coset. That is, left coset means for H. For H, I have to write the left coset. That is pi naught H, pi 1 H, pi 2 H. Okay, R1 H, R2 H, R3 H. These are all left cosets. Okay, simply you can just apply the composition map. You will get the answer. Or you can use the KLA table. Easily you can list out these elements. When you observe these, so if you choose any two, here if you choose any two, this is identical. If you choose any two, these are all totally designed. If you take union of this, definitely your this become your original group. Okay, take a union of design left coset or right coset, it's form a group. These are all examples of right coset. In early case, this is right coset. I wrote left coset, that is wrong. This is right coset. Another example is that 12. So addition modulo 12. So here also Z12 means 0 to 11. Okay, wow. So 0 is identity. If you add one more term 4, the inverse of 4. Inverse of 4 is 4 plus 8, 12. 12 becomes 0 mod 12. So 0, 4, 8 is an subgroup. If you pick another element 3, what is it? 0, 3, what is the inverse of 3? 3 plus 3 plus 11, 14. Sorry, 3 plus how do you get 12? 3 plus 9. 3 plus 9, what do you get? 3 plus 3, 6. 6 plus 3, 9. 9 plus 3, 12. Okay. What is the inverse of 3? Just see the table. Just add the inverse of 3. Definitely it's form a group. Okay. So here just I have to add the addition modulo. So left coset means 0. Here addition modulo. So I have to add 0 plus h, 1 plus h, 2 plus h, 3 plus h, and so on. Okay. So these are all right cosets. Similarly, this is beta. Okay, find the subgroup generated by this element. Here they give some permutation. Use this permutation, I have to choose a group. That group is a cyclic group. The notation is nothing but B as a generator. I have to, using the generator as B, I have to find the cyclic group whose generator is B. Okay, then determine all the left cosets of K in S4. This is K, left cosets of K in S4. That means this is elements of S4, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4. Definitely this is element of S4. I have to show that cyclic subgroup whose generator is B. That is first thing. The second thing, I have to find the left cosets in K. K means nothing but this. So my G is S4. Quickly I recall, please wait. So I have to find the cyclic subgroup. How do you find the cyclic subgroup? Start with beta, then square it, cube it, raise the power 4, and so on. Wherever you get E identity element, stop the procedure, collect the permutation. Such collection is called cyclic subgroup. So if you get B square, different permutation. If you raise B power 3, that is also different permutation. B forwards become B E. Therefore, my cyclic subgroup for beta 1, beta square, beta cube. That is our cyclic subgroup. Now I have to collect the left cosets of K. So you know K means nothing but my beta. Okay. My K is nothing but my cyclic subgroup. This is my cyclic subgroup. That is 1 beta square. Beta 1 beta square, beta cube. That is my cyclic subgroup. That is my K. I have to find the left cosets of K in S4. In S4 there are 24 elements. Okay. So I have to choose such collection. So I have to find the right left courses. That is, I can pick one element, just multiply with k. So finally you can get the such collection. Okay. Go through it. If you have any doubt, ask me. Up to this, so refer your this problem. If you understand the problem, if you have any doubt, ask me. This is another proof. The proof go through yourself because already you studied in DM. This is not an important one, but 2 mark they may ask anyone. Cardinality of AH is nothing but cardinality of your subgroup. If you choose any two subgroup, either identical or disjoint, the union of disjoint left quotient or right quotient form G. Just go through the proof. This is not important, but any one of the proof they may ask in the 2 mark problem. Okay, go through it if you have any doubt, ask me. So wherever I put the important symbol, you have to read. The other thing, just you have to go through. Okay. So Lagrange theorem, already you know that you studied in your DM. Such go through your files, go through yourself. If G is a finite group of order n, H is a subgroup of order m, definitely m divides n. So already you studied DM. This is not an important theorem in algebra number theory. So proof, go through yourself. So corollary, order of an element divides order of the group. This is also another theorem, not so much important. Just go through yourself. Okay. Homomorphism. Just now we complete only 2 topics from unit 1. This is the 3rd topic. We will see in the next class homomorphism. So when I seed my when you seed my slides, wherever I put important symbol, the problem theorem, you have to study, you have to work it out. The remaining you have to study for 1 mark quiz problem. With the result, I may ask many 1 mark questions. So you have to remember the results. But wherever I put important symbol, you have to read the proof also. Okay. Thank you, students.